Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Inside Out Alignment. Your host, Mary Tapper, your platform for self discovery and creativity. Yes, we are humans, and in every way, we love to expand, we love to learn, we want to grow. And today, it's an honor and a pleasure to have with us Harrison Penny, the founder of Authentic Process. Harrison, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. Thank you for being here with me. And we would love you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you for that introduction, Mary. I appreciate that. So, my name is Harrison Penny, like Mary said, and I am the founder of Authentic Process, the online platform that helps you expand your awareness around health. And it ultimately helps the 9 to 5 worker lose weight and just crush their goal weights and their chisel down weights as well.
Beautiful. I like that word 9 to 5 because I have worked that way. And mostly when we come back, we are just so tired. There's a lot to be done. And when you say 9 to 5, so how would you help people, those of us, those people working in that 9 to 5 jobs to get to that space where they are in control and in charge of what they are doing in regards to their health?
So, a really good way to explain it is that I basically help people implement small routines in the very beginning of any process. So, if we're starting off hypothetically the first week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, it's just like anything. If you start with the very small, slow progression, your mind always likes something to look forward to. Okay, so if you're giving it something small that it knows that it can grasp and reach towards, then it's going to start slowly reaching towards that one goal. But if you give it way too many things, what tends to happen is that our mind and our bodies are not very conditioned to all those things that you try to give it. So it tends to snap back into that old behavior and it just makes it very hard for you to reach that goal. So just a really good, I guess, layman's terms way to tell you how I can help somebody in a 9 to 5 job is that I give them very slow, um, easy, progressive steps in the beginning, and then you start slowly working your way up to the bigger goals. So once you start with smaller things, you give yourself that foundation, then you build off that same thing as well. So just small, slow progressions in the beginning. And an example of that could be fasting the first 4 to 5 hours after waking up in the morning. And that typically ends to really be a good variation for someone starting off in the beginning. Because if you work a 9 to 5 job, then the odds are is that you wake up between 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or not, or 8 a.m. And if you're doing that, then that means you have that 4 to 5 hour window before your lunch break, and your lunch break is probably between about noon to 1, and that's when you can break your fast. So that right there already goes with your work schedule, and that's just one small example of something that can go with someone that's working a 9 to 5 job.
Beautifully put. And I know that you are more is you're talking about health, but also personal development, and all of these incorporate the habits that we are maybe used to, are in our personal lives, either maybe in our health and well-being, or the way we are thinking, or the actions that we take, routinely, or we take every day. So when you get to talk about personal development or even this healthy routine, what do you think we can do about our mindset in order to get ourselves, started in something like that? When we are not used to, when we are so used to other things that we've been doing, what how would you guide us into getting in that space where we train our mindset to start doing the things that will build us up, even though they are, you start with those little steps, those little steps, you're right, we don't want to be overwhelmed.
Right.
So how do you prepare us to get to that point where we actually start doing those?
Well, a couple things, Mary. I would say keeping an open mind in the beginning, and that tends to be the hardest thing. And I think a lot of us think that we do have an open mind until our open mindedness tends to get challenged. I don't know if that's a word, but our open mindedness tends to get challenged. And then also identifying your resistance, identifying your resistance in the beginning. And if you can identify it in the very beginning, you start to realize all the things that you resisted in the past. And so if you can get ahead of it before you start something new, then when that resistance comes up, you can always remind yourself what you promised yourself in the beginning, and then you can start jumping over those hurdles. So I think just the two main things in the beginning, there's dozens of them, but I think the main two is just keeping an open mind, even
Mhm.
if we think that we are, sometimes we're not. And then the second one, just identifying that resistance. And I think your support group as well. You know, being around like-minded people, being around people that amplify you and gas you up and just keep you enthusiastic, I think is a really important thing as well. So I think your support group is going to be really important. The friends that you hold, the family that you have around you, the people that you work with, and we are all followers to some extent. And if we're surrounded by four people that think one way, we're going to be the fifth one thinking the same thing.
Definitely.
So probably just the keeping an open mind, identifying your resistance, and then just the people around you. Just the main three right there.
Beautiful. Okay. You have worked and you've already like created something that can help people out there to actually get into helping themselves moving forward, in their goals as far as not only losing weight, but also having to nourish themselves with things that are healthy. So can you give us like a little, like give us an idea of what that is and how that is going to help, people out there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for letting me share that. That's awesome. So Authentic Process has its first program in there, and it's called Losing Weight with Little to No Cravings. And so it's a 30-day weight loss protocol for the 9 to 5 worker that's wanting to lose 4 to 6 pounds within that 30-day time frame. And then at the end of the program, you're going to actually end with the base on what's going to help you for your long-term weight loss goals. And the best part is that it's completely COVID proof. You're not actually going to need a gym at all. The movement guidelines in there are very minimal, and there's 6 modules in the entire course. And so module 1 through 6 is helping you progress off of where you currently are. It's going to meet you where you're currently at. And it's for men and women as well. Anyone between the ages of, I'd say, 17 up until their late 50s, early 60s. So it's really tailored towards you, and you end up bringing on the tools that you need to help you lose the weight. And so module 1 is just giving you a handful of tools that's going to help you with your mindset, and then help you with just a fasting variation that I've been doing for a couple of years. And then from there, you're starting to get more routines that's going to help you progress towards losing that weight. And it's all, again, laid towards being tailored towards your work schedule so it doesn't feel like a second job.
And when you say little or no cravings,
Lose
how
weight.
do
So a good way to, so for example, when you're fasting the first 4 to 5 hours after waking up in the morning, what you're doing is you're not starting your metabolism, right?
Mhm.
And it normally what we don't realize is that our metabolism works against us. And what I mean by that is that if we get our metabolism going too early in the morning, and that metabolism is going throughout the entire day, it's going to spike cravings throughout the entire day. But now, if you're fasting the first 4 to 5 hours and you don't eat until, let's say, for example, between 11:30 or about noon 30, about 12:30, maybe even 1ish, then you're minding the body and you're controlling when you decide to eat. And so if you days, weeks, months, and years get into that kind of cycle, then now you're controlling when you decide to eat, and you're not starting the metabolism as well. And so fasting also has a lot of amazing benefits, from lowering body fat percentage, lowering inflammation, helping with your mental focus and your energy. It's just a much cleaner burning fuel source. So that's just one example where you're going to be able to reduce the cravings. And then another example that's in the program is having carbs high in fiber 2 separate times throughout the day. So if you have carbs high in fiber when you break your fast and then your last meal of the day, it actually slows the digestion down. So that right there is going to help lower the cravings that you have. It's going to help with your energy, and it's just going to help flush you out the next day. So there's just a lot of amazing health benefits from there, not just reducing the cravings to begin with. But those are just 2 small examples of what's going to help you reduce the cravings within the program. And there's
Mhm.
probably 3 to 4 more items that's going to help you reduce the cravings in the program too.
I love your journey and the way you explain what you are, you're putting out there and actually serving. Because during this time with COVID going on, many of us are stuck at home.
Yeah.
And already, when you're at home and you do not control yourself, or you are not like, you have maybe things to do that, or you don't already have a routine, it is a good thing to have something that you can look forward to, something that you're working on. And you bringing that during this time is like a huge help to people out here and who are still uncertain about the things that what they can do, to stay fit and to take care of their body, and even making the right choices of what they can eat. So having them in something like that is really awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I know you have worked with many people, and you've had some challenges in your life. And I know like 2 or 3 years ago, you had an issue, landing on your right leg, your right knee. Am I right?
Oh, uh-huh.
Yes. And that was like a huge challenge for you. But still, you got out of it and you're thriving and you're still here, encouraging other people, being here for other people and letting them know that, yes, they can do it. Can you expand a little bit about that for us?
I'm still here, huh? Um,
Yes, you are.
so yeah, it was my right knee. So okay, that's the beginning. It's a long story. If you don't mind, just a few minute story. Let's hop into it. So
That's fine.
this the beginning. So I had worked for about 7 different gyms in the past. What at this point now 8 gyms, and now I'm more independent. So now it's all home based and then just in person in other places like parks. But so I had worked for 7 different gyms, and when you're getting promoted without certain gyms, there's not always a place for you at that one gym. So if you decide to get promoted, then you might have to hop around certain gyms. And so um, at I'd say my last gym, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I was working in Hemet, California, and the gym chain that I worked for, we actually had these team meetings every Friday. And I went to this team meeting. We were just supposed to go over some management questions and just kind of get ready for the week and just kind of talk about what we were going to do with our team to just move forward in sales and just help our trainers and everything. And so I was actually the fitness director with that club in Hemet. And so the head vice president of the club was like, hey, let's just go ahead and play flag football. And so there was about, I think, just about 20 of us playing flag football. There was men and women, just a whole mixture of people. And so, long story short, about 15 minutes into the game, I was going up to catch a ball, and someone intercepted it, and it tweaked me in the air, and I landed on my right heel in such a way to where it tore my meniscus and ripped my ACL. And that right there, it wasn't too painful, but I think it was just the shock of everybody being kind of around me, and just it was just a really surreal thing. What was kind of funny is that I didn't really notice too much pain, but I just noticed that something was wrong with my knee. You just
Hmm.
notice those things. Something just did not feel right. Just instinctively, I was like, okay, something's wrong, but I wasn't really sure because I didn't feel like anything was broken, but something was just wrong. And then before that, I've never really injured myself too much. I've always been very active and just kind of safe when I'm doing things, hiking and all that. So because of that injury, I wasn't able to actually train anybody at that point, because as the fitness director for the club, what actually would happen is that the membership team would bring in the new clientele, and they would actually give them to me so I could run them through a fitness assessment. And so I would get to know them a little bit and understand their goals and see where they wanted to be with their fitness journey, if they wanted to lose weight, put on muscle, just all that stuff. And so I would run them through about a 15 to 20 minute workout, but I wasn't able to do that because I was on crutches for about 2.5, maybe 3 months before the first surgery. And so without realizing it, because I wasn't able to work out as much, a lot of my patterns changed because of that setback right there with the knee. I actually had a couple people come to me during that 2.5 to 3 month period and they said, hey, you seem down.
Hmm.
You don't seem the same. And so with that, it allowed me to see that just outside people are really the ones that can kind of show you really how you're kind of acting. And so that right there was just kind of that a period where I noticed that I was kind of going downhill. I was trending downwards. And so before the injury itself, work was going good. Sales were awesome. I was doing well financially, and just my friendships and everything, things were just very vibrant. But I didn't realize that with that one injury, things were starting to go downhill. And so once I went through that realization, Mary, I ended up having the first surgery, and I was out of work for about 10 months. And so I had the first surgery. And so when they actually did the first surgery, they repaired the meniscus, but at this time, they didn't realize that the ACL was torn.
Hmm. Oh.
And so once they went in to go repair the meniscus, they noticed that the ACL was torn. They just repaired the meniscus, and then they woke me up after the surgery and they said, hey, so the surgery went really well, but we have some news. Your ACL's torn. And I'm like, okay, you guys fixed it, right? And they're like, okay. and they did not fix it. So I had to wait 5.5 months, maybe close to 6 months before the meniscus surgery healed for them to go back and do the ACL repair. So I was thinking that I was only going to be out of work for about 3, maybe 4 months after they had the meniscus surgery. Then I was going to go back to work. But during that time, I had actually been in network marketing and I had this really amazing mentor and I have some really close friends during that time. And so, long story short, um, going into the first surgery, I was really down and
Mhm.
depressed because just my whole identity and just who I was shifting because I was no longer working that job. Right. But the mentorship that I had and the people that I had around me in that networking process allowed me to read like 30 books during that time. I met like over 1,000 people and I expanded my awareness in just all areas of my life, my fitness, my rehabilitation, books, my finances, people. And that time frame happened to be the exact time frame when I realized that I wanted to build something of my own and just branch off and do something more independent. And so when I eventually went back to LA Fitness, I was only there for about a month and ended up stepping away and quitting and then going independent. So that time frame, that distraughtness, if that's a word, um, me being so low at that point with the knee and everything, it was necessary for where I'm at now, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So it was at the time you don't really realize what the world's trying to do for you,
Mhm.
and now looking back at it, you can always almost kind of see the where the dots connect. And
Definitely.
it's I can easily see how when people go through injuries and they have to get out of work and they just lose their identity, it's very easy to um, not see the silver lining, not see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
And so yeah, ultimately I'm thankful for the experience and I'm glad it happened.
Yeah. That's so inspiring. And uh, the way you took action, the things that you actually did, and then you looked at the good in it, and you listened, when uh, your friends or relations came to you and said they felt like you were not doing well. So you took note of that and you took action. And that is the beauty of that as well, because sometimes we find ourselves in difficult situation. And there is this saying that it's not about what happens to us, it's what we do about what happens in our lives, the actions that we take. So you were open-minded.
Hmm.
You were open-minded, you took some actions, you read books, you made sure you used that time, to connect. You also talked about having a mentor. And so you made sure you surrounded yourself with people that will help you, get out of there stronger than maybe you were before, and not just linger, in the pain and everything that you were going through, because that was a long time that you had to, go through that pain, or after the incident. That's a long time, and something that you're not prepared for. Just like we are in the pandemic, nobody knew this was going to happen, and we
Yeah.
find ourselves like, okay, this is happening. What can I do? Okay, I think what Harrison just shared with us is an example of what we can do during this time while we're at home. It is not about just the pandemic. What can you do for yourself? How can you move forward? Can you connect better with yourself? What actions can you take? Who can you connect with? We have the internet, we have groups, and many of those things. You can identify those who can be uplifting for you. If you see yourself or you find that those with whom you are now or you're surrounded with are not those people who are going to be supportive for you, then you have a chance, you have a choice to reach out to somebody who can actually be there to support you. You can reach out to groups. There are many of them out there, to move forward and to take actions that are worthwhile for yourself, and be an inspiration. Because I'm sure when that happened to you, many people, or you just telling us this today, it makes many people feel like, okay, if he could do that, then I have no excuse. And you boost people, you inspire other people to take actions, towards their or maybe something that they have, or some longings that they have been so long that they haven't been able to really connect with or even identify in their life. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Harrison. I appreciate that.
Thank you. During that time, Mary, I was an open wound physically and metaphorically too. Uh,
Wow.
I I was just open to wanting something new. And so when I
Mm-hmm.
went to that first surgery, I was pondering, I was lost, I was not sure exactly what to do because again, my identity was shifted. And so that's a good example of what's going on right now in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's I think a really clear and obvious example that during these times, amazing things can come from it.
Yeah.
Truly. And but we have to decide to. We have to decide that you don't necessarily have to know where you're going to go. You don't. No one really knows. Like even though I have somewhat of a vision for myself, and I know you do as well, Mary. Like we don't really know where we're going to be a year from now.
Yeah. That's
But if
true.
we buckle down on this, we buckle down on that. We try to grasp ourselves mentally and physically, and start taking those systematic steps, then things are going to work out. I just believe during those times of when you're aching and you're unsure, um, is a very it's one of those pivotal moments, but only if we decide to.
Yeah. 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 There is also one of the things that you do is meditation and forward reflection. Can you share that with us a little bit?
Hard
I want to
reflections.
really know what that is.
Yeah. So meditating. So um, I have been meditating now for about one of my best friends when I was a bit younger. I think this is back in like fifth grade.
Little connection problem.
Oh, is it cutting out?
A little bit. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Technology. That's fine. Yes, I can hear you.
I know, right? Technology.
Yeah.
It's kind of cutting out here. Okay, there we go.
Nope. Can you reconnect? Do you hear me? I can't hear you. Did you touch something? Okay. Let me see if we can just use the computer thing. I'm not sure, but
Okay, can you hear me now?
yeah, I just unplug my Yeti mic. I don't know sometimes. Okay, yes.
Now you can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So meditating. Meditating, we've all heard of meditation, but I did my first meditation, I want to say when I was about 17. Really close friend of mine. His dad was Episcopalian priest, and so he was able to marry and just go through the whole family process. But um, when I was about 15 or 16, he started going to India every year. And he would come back with all this knowledge, all this wisdom, and he would be like a whole changed man. He'd be wearing the outfits. He had long hair, and he came back different. We were like, okay, you definitely just got back from India. And so he would share all this wisdom with us. And I thought back then we didn't really think too much of it because we're young and we just weren't thinking too much of it. But now looking back to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I was like so much more open to it, because to be at that age as a father, to pour all that wisdom into us when we're like 15, 16 is an amazing thing for us. But obviously at that age, you're just not thinking about it. And so finally, when we were about 17, we did our first meditation, and all we had to do was just let go more and more. And it was just all the density that we had, just the frustration, the anxiety, and just all the turmoil that we had growing up and being in that age. He would just try to get us to just release all those things more and more. And so we did that maybe a few times. And for a couple of years, I didn't really think too much of it. And then it was about when I was 21. So I'm 26 now. So about a good 5 years. The meditation practice I do, I mean, I do a lot of different things, but ultimately, the most important one for me is just letting go. And so focusing on my breath, being comfortable with where I'm at, and not trying to repress the
Mm-hmm.
negative emotions that I have. It's feeling them. It's taking that fear, taking that anxiety, and taking all the frustration and just some buildup that you might have from something that happened earlier in the day or whenever it happened, and being okay with it being there and feeling it, kind of being one with it, and then just letting it go comfortably. So that's just one of the practices that I do every day. But forward reflection, when I get out of meditation, um, my meditations probably go for about 15 to 20 minutes now. But when I'm getting out of meditation, I like to hold in my mind exactly what I want. And it comes down to about 4 or 5 different things: my business, my finances, my body, my relationships, and my spirituality. And so when you're finishing a meditation where you're letting go, you are going from the levels of anger, frustration, anxiety, depression up into courage, um, self efficiency, love, gratitude. You're moving up in those levels. And so you're stripping away those things. So when you start moving up in those levels, then you're more likely going to be able to manipulate your subconscious mind when you start thinking about the things that you want. So when I get out of meditation, what I like to do is hold in my mind exactly what I want coming into this next 6 months to a year. And it's such an amazing thing to do going into this new year now, because we're in a new year. We're in January. It's the first
Mm-hmm.
of January. And so again, I just like to finish my meditation, hold in my mind exactly what I want, and I emphasize what I want. So what am I doing in those scenarios? Who am I talking to? What kind of money am I holding? What am I feeling with that spiritual awakening? What is my business doing? What kind of people am I connecting with? Am I doing a podcast with Mary? Things like that. And
Right.
if you hold in your mind something like that after a meditation, you feel yourself vibrating a little bit more. You're glowing a little bit more. And you might not feel it the first 1, 2, or 3 times, but if you start doing it 7, 8, 9, 10 times, then you start moving in that direction of not just feeling it, but enjoying it. And if you go from feeling to enjoying, you want to continue doing it more and more and more. And it starts to become part of your identity, I guess.
Yeah, and I like that because just like Joe Dispenza and many of them, they say that it's more about the feeling and having that feeling, coming out with an intention because you're setting an intention about what you want, what you're looking forward to for your life. And I guess that's where you have that your forward,
Yeah.
reflection
I
thing,
love
right,
what Joe
coming
said.
in.
Said,
Hmm.
Joe said, if you can't change your energy, then you won't change what's in your
Change.
life.
Right, right, right.
Love it.
And it is so amazing how that is so powerful that we have this so much potential in us, things that we can actually bring forth. But the noise in the world is so choking into a lot of the things that, these gifts that we actually have. And
Yeah.
just relying on everything so external, it's so depressing though. Just looking at the world, the way things are moving, and looking at the suffering and all everything that is happening, and having
Well,
more people coming
we have
out.
to live by our rules, you know. And I think a lot of people, because of their upbringings, because of the
Hmm.
people that they hang around, and because of the Netflix that they watch, or things that they watch, they live by those rules. But you have to live by your own rules.
Right,
I
right.
live by my rules. Mary, you have to live by yours, right?
No, no,
And
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
and that's just the hardest one. That's the hardest thing.
It
It
is.
is solidifying what your rules are.
Hmm.
And I know that might not make sense to a lot of people right now listening to this, but you have to have your own rules.
Yeah, because
And
it depends on what you want. You are here as an individual.
mhm,
Harrison is here. You are here as a unique person. There is no two person in this on earth with your print, with your fingerprint. You have to be your own blueprint. You have to live your life personally in your uniqueness. What you're here for, using your own person, your gifts. And the way you're going to express, you might have the same dream with somebody else, but the way you're going to express it is going to be different from the other person who has that same dream because you have that in your uniqueness, just the way you are. You bring it in your way. And I think that is what most of us we are lacking because we come to a place from a place where maybe our environment, or just as you said, we've been used to certain things and we keep doing those and we forget about us. We forget about our personal, we just subdue those longings and even our discontent to things that we know are not serving us. But we don't have that, we haven't grown up in that minds with that mindset of trying to really take that time and spend with ourselves. Most of us have problem just being by ourselves. It's like we must have other people around. But
yeah,
me time is so important. because gives us it's that time that we are able to connect with our very essence. This body is here just to be in this physical world, but our real self, with that spirit, you call it power, whatever you call it, depending on everybody's belief system, being in connection to that and then working from there inside, and being guided by it, in every decision and every step that we take in our life is so important. I
Yeah.
myself, I got to a point where I had to tell myself, are you here to live somebody else's life, or are you here to live your own life? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you can't just follow what other people are doing. What would you love? You need to start asking yourself those questions to be able to even identify them. Then you start moving from there,
Yeah.
little.
And a second ago, you said something what I really liked. You said that we have this, just amazing life, all this potential, and just there's so much that we have. We have all
Mm-hmm.
these blessings, and I think the sad thing, but the obvious thing, is that most of us don't see it like that. And if you were to have a conversation with someone about, changing your energy before you can change your life, uh, positive thinking, forward reflection, things like that, most people are just going to push that away because they want to see it before they feel it.
Yeah,
They want to see their bank account growing before they
that's a
feel
sad thing, though.
it. Yeah, they want to see that that man or woman come into their life to make them feel loved before they feel loved themselves.
Right,
They want to see it out in the real world, and so that's just big. I think one of the many lessons that I've learned, at least in 2020, is to feel it and be comfortable with who I am, and really know who I am before I get that which I want to get. And I've always realized that it's been a lesson and a realization of seeing how much really can come my way when I'm just comfortable with who I am and being okay with not having the things that I don't have. I think that's one of the biggest keys is being comfortable, okay, knowing what you want, but knowing that you don't need it.
right.
And so once you can kind of unify that kind of feeling towards that which you want, I believe is what makes you become closer to it. And it's funny, I think it's still even tough for me to kind of go through the ins and outs of this, but like people always say, know what you want and then let go of it. But it's like, okay, but it's like, how do you do that?
How
It's
do you
like,
let go of something you want?
I know, right? How do you let exactly? So it's like, if I want this iPhone, okay, that's what I want. But hey, like, don't even think about it. So you're like, kind of like peeking your eyes, like, okay, I don't want it. I do want it, but I don't. So it's a journey. It really
Right,
is.
it
And
is.
we all kind of have our own ways of looking at it. And so I think it's always going to be difficult for anyone to really explain it. And at some point, you need to just step away from trying to get so much advice and just be like, okay, what do I have to do? What's in here? What is this trying to tell me? And then
Yeah,
pull that root out. Then things start to click more and more.
yeah. It's just like a woman that is who is pregnant. Okay, when we're waiting for a child, we're excited, right? We're buying all these, we're getting the nursery ready with the family. Everybody's excited, but the baby's not there. It's just like a dream, or this thing that you love, like that deep longing for you. You want this thing, but it's not there, yes. But you have to feel the excitement of what is it you would love, and then start taking action towards that which you're looking forward to in excitement. Just visioning and visualizing and trying to see how you are going to be feeling when that comes to fruition. It's like you're living it before it happens. And the more clarity you have, you're feeling it. You are just like when the babies, as I said, we know the baby's in a way. In 9 months, you are preparing. You
Yeah.
are buying everything that you need. You're excited when you go to, just to know the gender of the baby. You are just so excited. There is so much joy, there's so much preparation, and everybody is like in this happy mode. And that is just what it is, even with our dreams or the things that we look forward to in life, in excitement. If
Love
you put it in, we put it a little bit in that perspective, it gives us a little more of, that suddenly that it is something we can, you can follow that route and actually get to it.
I love it.
Yeah.
What that reminds me of actually. the very first module in my program, Lose Weight with Little to No Cravings. And I know that also, by the way, that might deceive a lot of people. Like, yes, you're going to reduce cravings and lose some weight, but it's more than just a weight loss protocol, guys. It's a template that's going to leave you with the base on what to do for the future. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also going to imagine being able to, like, Mary, what's something that you love in your life?
Hmm.
Something that you love to do. I know you love your kids, you love your husband, but what's something that you love to do?
I love to serve. I love to see people happy around me. I love to see people thrive.
You love to see people thrive.
Right.
That's amazing. Okay, so imagine being able to not just take that into your
Mm-hmm.
health, but imagine being able to channel that into your health. And you do it long enough repetitively to where you're starting to change the relationship that you have. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
only a template that's going to help you lose 46 pounds in 30 days. It's not only a template that's going to help you reduce cravings or give you a game plan, but it's a game plan to help you change your relationship with your health. And I say that because of with accordance to what you just said, the very first module, which, by the way, if you go to my Instagram at Harrison C or Harrison underscore Penny, last name Penney, you're going to be able to see the first module in there. And that one's on me. You can go ahead and check it out and give you kind of an idea of what the whole program itself is going to be like, the remaining
Mm-hmm.
5 modules. But I give you a fasting variation in module one and a subconscious tool in module one. And so when you are, and this is kind of another way to reflect forward and have a good mental base of where you'd like to be, how you'd like to feel, and start taking those steps. But let's say, for example, you're going to bed at like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and you're laying in bed and you have about that 5 to 10 minute window before you're falling asleep, but you're laying in bed, you're getting comfortable, you're all stretched out, and you're just ready to fall asleep. What you're doing is that you're floating in between your conscious and subconscious mind.
Subconscious.
Okay, you're floating in between that. That is the best time to manipulate your subconscious mind, which actually rules 95 to 98% of what we do, how we breathe, how we grab things, how we go about everything, really. I mean, naturally, our body's doing it. I mean, our body's not stopping when we're falling asleep. Our
Not at
body's
all.
still going. Think about it. I mean, most of the time we're dreaming and still thinking. When we're falling asleep, we're not really asleep. We're just
Yeah.
resting, right? So if you can start thinking, let's use the program for an example. If you want to be 6 pounds down, you want to feel better, you want to have more energy throughout the day, you want to have a game plan, you want to articulate yourself better at work, you need to, between that sleeping period, and again, this is very universal. You don't have to just use this for your health. You can use this for your finances, your business, relationships, really anything in your life, the hobbies that you have. And so if you're starting to, the beginning, the first handful of days, just think about what you want while you're falling asleep. Now, the more that you do that repetitively, you're going to start dreaming about these things. And slowly, once you pass that dreaming state, you're going to start to really identify with that person. And once you slowly start to identify as that person, you're going to start having these feelings when you have those thoughts when you're laying down. So imagine being able to get into a cycle of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 18 weeks of you doing this cycle every night before you go to bed. Who do you think you're going to be when you wake up one day? You're going to be that person that you started to think about before going to bed. And so
Definitely.
I wanted to share that because it was it kind of went with what you were just saying right there. And it's just one of the tools in module one that I believe is going to benefit a lot of amazing people out there.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up because it gives even more clarity on what it is and what you have out there already. So beautiful. Yeah. So you said when you were telling yourself, after these years or when you were 17, you had this opportunity, to learn about meditation and all that. But because that time, you weren't so interested in that, what would you say what advice would you give to a 17-year-old today?
In accordance to meditation
Not
or
only
just any.
meditation, as far as personal development, as far as taking maybe actions about what they would love, about many things in life, or maybe their health and well-being. Because whatever you do, it still stems out into, helping us in many areas of our life. It's not just about the weight, it's not just about what you're putting in our mouth. As far as food is concerned, actually is a whole package.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
That's a hard one. I
Yeah.
think about this one all the time. I guess it starts with what advice would I give myself at 17, and then which
Yeah.
advice would I give? It's a tough one because, we could give the advice, but would they
Hmm.
take it? So I guess what we think about when we want to give advice to someone that's that young is what advice can we give and an advice that they would take, right? But
I
stop
think
trying.
the beauty, I'm not trying to cut you, but I think the good thing is when we are giving the advice, or when, let me say, you go like in a session and somebody is, they're giving this great message, out here to many of us. Okay, we go there, maybe we are all excited. We are all excited about, oh, this person, he always gives a great message. Some
Mhm.
of us take it and go actually take action on those. Some of us listen and be like, oh, I already knew this. And, because of our ego and all that, we do not take action towards those. Some of us feel like, oh, is that what you brought me? What you brought me here for that? So it's not everybody, the whole, who's going to get that. But many parents listen to this. They can use it for their kids. They can use it for somebody else who needs help with this. It can help. It might not be in a 17-year-old. We have some 40 years old who behave like 17 years old. So it's out here to help everybody. So taking that age 17 doesn't basically mean that it's that specific
Yeah.
person or that right group of people. It might help somebody else. So yeah, don't think too hard, but just, as you said, put yourself in there in your when you were 17. What advice would you give to you, Harrison?
It's like a wish. I'm like going back to me being. I'm like, what one advice would I give myself? I can't do this. I gotta go. But
It can be one,
uh,
it can be two, however you want to put it. Liberty.
uh, I would say the advice that I give a 17-year-old, 16, 17, 18-year-old is slowly start to be okay with thinking for yourself. You're about to be an adult. You have to be comfortable with thinking for yourself. If you have your mom or dad or whoever helps you in your life, your teachers, if you have them making all the decisions for you, you're going to wake up a few years from now really upset because they dictated your life. And I think that's what we see a lot of nowadays. Truly, that's, bless my family. I love them to death, but I made it too hard on myself to make decisions when I was younger. So I kind of put the ball in their court and they were more than happy to take the ball, because they want to see me do well. They want to see me thrive and enjoy my life. So they were more than happy to say, well, maybe you should do this or maybe you should try that. But if I can go back or give any advice to someone that's 17, it's be okay and start exercising the idea that you're going to have to start making decisions for yourself. And don't just make them rashly. Don't or make them comfortable collective decisions. Don't just make them quickly because it's what you think needs to happen now. You're super young and you have time. So know that you have time on your hands and start thinking for yourself.
Beautiful. I like that. Yeah. So Harrison, what are your goals for the next 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to?
Well, definitely expansion with Authentic Process. I believe it's going to do really well, and it's already helped out a lot of amazing people. And so, expansion, more programs with Authentic Process, and really just unraveling who I am through Authentic Process more and more. And Authentic Process, the title itself came to be about 5 years ago, before the fruition of this business even starting. I moved to California from Kansas when I was 21. I had just turned 21. And some part of me was like, man, I hope one day, I feel like one day I might have a business. I always knew that I was going to be a trainer. I love to coach. I love to help people. I love to learn and give it back to someone else. And so I thought of the name Authentic Process 5 years ago. And so now it's in fruition and now it's thriving. Now it is what it is. And so the unravelment is just so illuminating and it's chest opening. And so I try to have more of a vision for myself every day, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, keep myself open to the fact that it's never going to be exactly how I want it. And I'm okay with that. I want to keep myself open to the possibility of what can be. But I think the main goals are involving myself more in the community and not just having authentic process something that um, someone can buy and it can help their life. That's an amazing tool and it's always going to be there, but I want it to touch more people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk more on stage. I want to go to schools and I want to go to functions and areas where people do work 9 to 5s or do work 9 to 6s and provide as much feedback as I can to help them live a healthier lifestyle. And I think one of the main goals is helping people see and helping more people realize that when you can have comfortable and fun and enjoyable routines in your life, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your work, your relationships, really anything, when you can, excuse me, put yourself in a progressive routine, it soothes the intellectual part of you. It really does. And when you can soothe that part of you, I've come to realize that your dreams and your wishes and things that you want in your life, they don't necessarily come true automatically. What happens is that they start to surface more and just kind of the real essence of who you are starts to come up more because you're working on your health, you're working on your mind, and you're stripping away the density that you had in the past. So if I can keep approaching that process and put it in a direction to where it's helping people discover themselves more and unravel more,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a happy person.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Being open and actually doing all that you've just said, it makes you, you see the opportunities, you see the resources, and, things just start happening for you. And because it is in alignment with yourself and the actions that you're taking, the universe
A lot of people
conspires
wish
and work
I
in
said
there for you.
I'm sure a lot
Sorry?
of people wish, I'm sure a lot of people wish I said a mansion or Ferrari, but it's
It will come. If it comes, it's going to be welcome, right? Yeah, but that's what you're putting out there right now. But even if it is a mansion, the Ferrari comes there, the opportunity is going to be there, the resources. It might be bigger than what you even thought of. And what do? Take it, and then you help more people. And then you have more choices. You have many other things that you can do with that. So
yeah,
that's the beauty of being in a process and actually, being staying consistent, especially with that.
yeah, big time. And that's um yeah, consistency, big time.
Mhm. Yeah. So, Adi, we're coming to the end of the episode, and on the description box of this episode, I'm going to have Harrison's information, his website, and his. You can follow him on Instagram as well. I think he just mentioned that, but I'll have everything in the description box, so you can go on there and contact him or get in touch with that website and actually get his program that can help you start taking actions, start taking those little steps towards your dreams and goals, and just keep going. Who knows what's going to happen at the end? So reach out if you have any questions. He's very open. He's going to answer you. So if you have any questions, you want to get in touch with him, do not hesitate. Do so. Do so. And and whatever he shared here is we want to discover ourselves. We want to be more authentic with the things that we are doing. So make sure everything that you got from here, you help not just yourself, but also those who are around you. We want to spread the knowledge. We want to empower ourselves. We want to be inspired. We want to be inspiration to those in our world. So together we are stronger. So that's why he's here. That's why many other guests come on this platform to share their experience, to share their struggles, and also to let you know that you're not alone. And that is why he's here to let you know that you're not alone. You have any questions, you want to connect, please do so. Do you have any last word you want to share with them, Harrison?
More advice. um I never believed in setting resolutions. I like
Okay.
I like to set goals.
Okay.
And so I think this is an amazing time to set those goals
Mm-hmm.
and really mold in your mind what it is that you want going into this year, and just hold on to it and emphasize it. It's the hardest thing for us all, I believe, is it's not knowing what we want, but it's knowing what we want and holding that image.
I like that.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
My
So
wisdom
thanks.
from India.
Go ahead. You have
I
one
said,
more thing?
I said my wisdom from India. I'm just joking.
That's why we are also learning from that. So thank your friend, who brought that to you, and now you're sharing with the world. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, that's what we're talking about. So we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for taking time to listen. Thank you for always being there. Yes, it is inside out alignment. Do not hesitate to discover those wonderful gifts of yours. Stay tuned, keep listening, and keep growing and keep being creative. Take care and bye for now.